Marshal Bill Burns, and nobody likes a quitter.
Lately, everyone been talking crazy. Feel like everybody's got some to say. They misinterpreted my good intentions and expected I was just gonna step away. If there's a heart that pumps and there's a breath to take, then I won't bite my tongue as long as I'm awake. And they don't have the guts to make a dumb mistake. I'd rather crash a car than never touch the brakes. I built this house. They're the kind of people that be dying for exposure. They're the kind of people that get mad and lose composure. They're the kind of people that are never going forward. They're just the ones that are looking for apologies. Hating real loud, but they follow me. Screaming at the top of their lungs, I'm the scum of the earth. In the same damn breath, trying to preach about equality.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Matrix Wars. Today we're going to be talking about a topic that came up on my mind just the other day, and that is what makes a perfectly great villain. And this can be for TV or movies. And so I'm going to go through a couple topics. And so the first one we're going to talk about is what I think makes a great villain, which is they are deliciously evil. A perfect example of this is the person on your screen, Ramsay Bolton. I love watching Ramsay Bolton. I know this is a unpopular opinion, but I do enjoy watching him, mainly because his acts are so heinous and downright wrong and immoral that when it happens, he just has such a charismatic joy, almost like a 5-year-old on a Christmas day. It's really, immoral and really turns your stomach a bit. And I think this is one of the characteristics that makes Ramsay Bolton particularly interesting, one with which I am very glad to, I watch. I understand that some of the stuff he does, like the raping of Sansa Stark, isn't right at all, but his other stuff, just the lines he delivers, which is also another thing, is great lines. Villains have great lines, things that they say that either just make you go, oh my gosh, I can't believe he said that, or, ooh, that was a good line, ooh, that made my skin crawl, that, just made me think, man, I really don't want to mess with this guy. He's definitely someone to watch out for. And I think that all great villains have those moments, and the more moments they have, the better of a character. Ramsay has many of them. Now, the second topic is a villain that you can relate to. And so, in the original Star Wars movies, that was Darth Vader. You could definitely understand him, especially once it got to Return of the Jedi, where he was basically a father who was struggling against good and evil, the people that he was associated with and the people who he wanted to be associated with. He had a allegiance to the Emperor, but he wants to have an allegiance with his son, which, all of us can understand that, following a dark path was good, now bad, having to fight that inner struggle, that inner battle, if you will. That's a very common trait amongst movies and books that definitely make a character compelling and understandable. And in my personal opinion, makes Darth Vader a very good and relatable villain. It turns this man who is regarded as absolutely evil into a more humanizing figure. And then we get into the prequels, which of course have the great Emperor Palpatine, who, he's just, again, deliciously evil. He has fantastic lines. And he's a person that you can relate to in a sense that he is someone who desires to crawl from the bottom of the barrel to the highest position in the land. There are a lot of people in stories like this. Varys, for instance, also from Game of Thrones, where he was like, I was a slave, I was born a slave, and, I basically had the suffering of many, and I crawled my way up to the top. And, which is basically what Palpatine's story is, He was he grew up and as a kid, and then he became a senator, and then he became Supreme Chancellor, and then he becomes Emperor. And he just, deliciously evil, great lines, good backstory. Now, another thing that I look in villains is definitely the backstory. Another good example of this is Davy Jones from Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. He's very good at it because it is a man who has lost his way, kind of similar to Darth Vader, Except because he has lost his way, it was lost because of love, in the sense that the woman actually did betray him in the sense, and he was deformed. Actually, now that you think about it, he's a lot like Darth Vader in a sense. Davy Jones is basically the Darth Vader of Pirates of the Caribbean, except the difference is he does not get redeemed. He dies in ill fate due to the fact that he just can't do what he's supposed to do. And the reason why he was deformed different from Darth Vader is because he didn't do his duty, while Anakin never went against it. And one last one that a lot of people wouldn't say that they can relate to is Voldemort, which is very different. But if you're an introvert and you never really had friends, you can kind of understand where Voldemort is coming from. It's a guy who basically wanted nothing more in the world than to have a friend. He kind of grew up in an orphanage. He was alone. He didn't have anyone to hang out with or spend time with, and he was kind of an outcast, which is definitely a story, a character model that a lot of people can relate to, myself included. And I think that makes him such a powerful and powerful character that you can learn about Voldemort. Watch him on the screen, and you can say, yeah, I used to be that little kid, that little runt, that outcast that everybody made fun of, and I would like to be able to come to power and be able to be the one on top that other people look to, the people regard with high favor. And yes, of course, Voldemort did it the wrong way, and he went about it doing bad deeds. But I think you can relate to him because you're like, I understand that feeling. He just went about it the wrong way. So, these are my points for making a great villain. Backstory, deliciously evil, great lines. And I think this really shows why nowadays, and especially within the sequel trilogy of Star Wars, we don't have that anymore. Kylo isn't a relatable character. He cries, he whines, he moans, he complains about everything. He loses every battle almost. Like, how can I relate to this character? Neither can I relate to him, nor do I want to model myself after him. I can't do either or. You get Snoke, who had the potential of being a good character, but, ended abruptly thanks to Rian Johnson. And so it just, it doesn't make any sense where that's going. There's no good villains. There's no good heroes. And maybe I'll make a video about what makes a good hero, but this is definitely key characteristics to making a great villain. Another thing I think, just off the top of my head, is that the heroes are not safe at all times. The villain could kill them off at any moment. You have to always be on your toes, and you have to be actually terrified of the villain. I think that's another good one. But anyways, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Please like the video and subscribe to my channel, Matrix Wars. And, as always, may the Force be with you.